our lesson today is practicing indirect characterization. So I call this the trash can game. So everybody go ahead and open up both of these if you didn't already. You're going to need 2 tabs open. I also recommend keeping your vocab chart open because it might give you some ideas as well. So, we'll start with this. One of the links will lead you to this. These are going to be your inspiration for today. I just tried to get a huge variety. Like some of these you will recognize, some of these you might not recognize. Some of these are, like a little more creepy. Some of them are just funny. Some are serious, some are old, some are young. So really anything goes. If you have an idea for a character who's not already on this list, don't feel like you are totally just stuck with the ones on this list. So this assignment won't work if you're making up your own character. You're going to do this with characters who already exist. It could be any character from any book, any movie, any TV show, any play, any musical, any video game, as long as it's a character who you know very well. It will not work if it's not a character who you know a lot about, okay? And then here's what your assignment looks like. So let's start with the why, because I think sometimes as a student, like I used to wonder all the time, why is this teacher making me do this? So I answered that question for you. We get to know characters in all sorts of ways. Sometimes we get to know our characters directly, and sometimes we're getting to know, like we talked about, we get to know our characters indirectly, which is a little bit more interesting. So as an author or a creative writer, your job is you're creating an entire fictional world. And sometimes that comes down to you really focusing on details. Like, what about, like, even something like what's in that character's trash can? That sounds really ridiculous, but the best authors really plan out their stories meticulously. Like, they've really thought down to even something silly like that. So I call it the trash can game. It's going to help you discover how well a character has been developed. So usually we're writing stuff and making it up ourselves. We're doing the opposite today. We're taking a character that already exists and thinking, how well did that creative writer do? So, on the directions, you do have to be creative, and I know that's, a dumb thing for a creative writing teacher to say, but I'm going to grade these a little bit tough, and I'm not going to give you grades for stuff that's ridiculously obvious. I'll show you what I mean in just a second, okay? So, I hope that you will try and be a little silly and a little weird with this, and here's what you do. So the first thing is you choose a character, okay? So let me pretend that I'm doing this assignment, and I really like Pirates of the Caribbean, so maybe I would be choosing Jack Sparrow. So I come back to my assignment, and I put his name, Jack Sparrow, or you can just put Jack, that's fine. It says, so you have to start with this. If you don't start with this, it makes it a little bit tougher. So list 2 things you already know about that character. So somebody tell me one thing that you already know about Jack Sparrow. Steele, what's something you know? He's a captain. Yep, he's a pirate captain, okay? Somebody else, tell me something we know about Captain Jack. What's something else that is for sure true? Connor, what's another thing we know about Captain Jack? Yeah, he totally did. He traded his soul for some cursed gold. So then, now that I kind of started with what do I already know about this character, you're going to tell me some items that you might find. If you went on Jack's pirate ship and you looked in his piratey trash, we're trying to think indirectly what things we know about him because I found it in his trash. So I'm stealing this from somebody who used to be in my class, but somebody was like, I know. So he's a pirate, and they're at sea for a lot of long stretch of time. That he's probably kind of dirty, right? Like he just might not have the opportunity to bathe very often. So we find unused soap. It's like a full package of soap. It's not even unwrapped. That's what I found in his trash can, and obviously that's not real. That's made up, but that's unique and that's creative, and that shows me that you're thinking about indirect characterization. I will give you 3 more examples. So, one year, a girl was thinking, what would she find in Dory the fish's trash can, which I know doesn't make sense that a fish would have a trash can, but just go with me. Say it. Yes, yeah. She said, okay, you know the game Memory? Like, where you have to, flip over and you find the 2 things that match? And, Dory has bad short-term memory, right? So, we would find a bunch of, the cards from the game Memory, because Dory, she got fed up and just threw it in her fishy trash can. Another year, a kid was thinking about Yoda, and they were like, okay, one of the things I know about Yoda is that he's super old, and old people sometimes end know what? I would totally be finding Yoda's like ear hair trimmings, which is totally ridiculous. Oh my gosh, hello. It's so nice to see you, first of all. This is our old IT like guru. Oh my goodness. Okay, so and then the last example is Willy Wonka. Like, guys, where does Willy Wonka? What does he own? A chocolate factory. So, like, do you think it's gonna work out for him, like eating candy all day, every day? Like in his teeth, what are he probably gonna have a bunch of? Yeah. So somebody was like, I would find a bunch of teeth with cavities in them in Willy Wonka's trash can. So that's what I mean by creative and unique and interesting. And here's I'm gonna make you a deal.